afternoon, cult members, and welcome to Pop Culture Cult. I'm Sean, and this is going to be my review of the last episode of the Secret Invasion called Home. Normally, Janice is sitting here, but she is on a business trip, and so we talked about it last night, and she's like, go ahead and finish Secret Invasion. I'll watch it when I get back, and I'm sure she'll have her own thoughts. We might get back on here as a bonus episode, maybe a rewatch of everything put together. But this is the conclusion of a 6-part series. I think overall, I really like this series. Um, I feel like maybe they could have had one more episode of the final conflict. This final episode, I love what they did with their decision of Ritson being in the hospital and Rhodey trying to talk him into just straight up bombing Russia and accusing Skrulls and Russians working together on the attack on him, even though we know as the audience that was just the Skrulls. We know it's Gravik's plan to just eliminate everybody, pretty much on the planet, all the humans at least. But the idea of what this, I liked the back and forth between Fury and Gravik in the Hadron Collider machine thing to make Super Skrulls. You have that whole scene going on while somebody is attacking all the security officers around Ritson, and Sonya being there and kind of poking the bear a little bit to get Ritson out in the open, essentially, and them going back and forth. Now, they're supposed to be letting us think that it's Fury at a nuclear site, um, dying quickly of radiation poisoning, and they don't show Fury at the hospital. And they initially made it feel like it was Sonya doing all the work. And I've been saying for the whole way that I thought somebody was going to show up. Photon, Captain Britain, someone along that line. And so I thought that that's what was going to be the reveal. But the reveal, I think, was even better. The fact that it was Gaia and Gravik having that whole conflict at the Super Collider maker of the Super Skrulls thing, and it was actually Fury and Sonya being humans, and actually trying to save the human president. I thought that dichotomy, that back and forth, that mislead. I thought the way it was edited, the way it was shot, the tension building up, and then when Sonya pops out and to stop Rhodey, Scrody, was a nice twist. Okay, so it's not Sonya; it's got to be somebody else. No, it really was. Really was Fury, and it was Gaia who was the one who baited Gravik into doing the actual Harvest Super Skrull. They are now all the Skrulls, or they are all the Avengers. I have some questions. There was Ghost was on the screen. The screen went by really fast. I'm gonna have to go watch New Rock Stars here when we get done. The screen went by really fast. All the Avengers were on there, and Ghost popped up, and they talked about at the battle for Earth, is where they got all the DNA samples. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's where they got most of them. It could have, it's Fury. He could have had talks with a bunch of different people about how to help Ghost, how to do some of the other people who weren't necessarily shown in the Battle of Earth in Endgame. One of those, however, was Frost. Gaia makes a Frost sword. And there's kind of the Thing rock arm in there as well. So I wonder if that's a subtle hint to some things that could be going in the future that those characters were around. Um, uh, I like to have it explained. It doesn't ruin the episode for me. It doesn't ruin the series for me. It's just one of those things. I'm like, wait a minute. Um, so the conflict of actually seeing Samuel L. Jackson actually fight in his 70s versus Kingsley Benadir, um, I really wanted to see how they were going to handle that. And the way they handled it was a war of words until they became both Super Scrolls. And then it was the reveal that it was Gaia. And I love the reveal that uh, Super Scroll Gravik picks Fury up, holds him against the post, goes to throw a super punch with Hulk's arm, and gets stopped by Fury. And so that was like the most we're going to see Samuel L. Jackson in a bit more of a physical part of that fight. And then back on and when with Ritson and Scrody, that was again a war of words. Fury is using his words, using his stealth. He tranked all of the guards. I thought that was a really good use too. Instead of just killing them, he actually just tranked them. And having Fury shoot and kill uh, Scrolly, Scrody, makes it um, cathartic. Makes it's for Fury. This person who's been running around as his friend has been screwing everything up, and so it made a lot of sense to me to have Fury eliminate her, and then have Gaia be the one who actually kills Gravik because Gravik is the one who killed her parents. And so I for the entire series, I was talking on the points of I feel it lessens Fury's attempt to bring the Avengers together if he defeats the Super Scrolls on his own. And so I didn't see a path where I was allowing the story to play out the way it needed to for the actual understanding of that it was never really about Fury defeating him. It was about Fury trying to save as many scrolls as he could because they got poisoned by this cult leader. And so I liked that dichotomy. It wasn't Fury that beat the Super Scroll; it was another Super Scroll that beat him. And so I really liked that they did that. Ritson being a punk ass bitch. I love the little line of Fury kind of calling him, trying to call off Ritson and the shit show that he has started by calling out that every scroll is now on a hit list and feels um, feels very fascist in a way of instead of trying to find a common goal or common ground to live on. He just took an extreme view that he needs to eradicate everyone, and that radicalizes everyone. Uh, some people, I won't say everyone, that radicalizes a lot of people, and they show the killing spree that these militia groups went on. And some killed some of the scrolls, and some killed real people, and then some of them died in the process. And so Fury was pointing out to Ritson that it you need to call this off, and Ritson just pretty much telling them to f off. And Fury said, these are decisions that lead to a one-term president, which sets up the Thunderbolts and how we get uh oh my god, his name left me. But that's how we get Harrison Ford as president in the Thunderbolts, which makes a ton of sense and how they set that up. And then we have a little bit of a setup between Gaia and Sonya. Sonya kind of saying, "Why don't you come work for me so we can save your people?" And Gaia doing the whole "unless you have an army in that trunk, let me out." You're gonna be in trouble, and their mutual understanding of if you help me, I'll help you. You help. If I help you, you help me. Like kind of that what Fury tried to do, but I think he lost his way. Um, and then again, they talked about every planet they went to, they weren't able to find a home for the scrolls, and it just never worked. Although we did get the resolution with Fury and Priscilla, and Fury said that the Kree have offered peace terms. So that maybe is an outlet for what could be happening in the future, but at least gives them an opportunity to get off Earth to somewhere else and be safe. Um, and they kind of kiss and made up a little bit. She gets to be her true form. I love the idea of I love you as who you are, um, and her saying I want to be loved for as I am. And Fury says you have always been loved as you are, and I just love that they came to terms with the conflict between the two of them of did Fury actually love her for her, or did he love her human form, or did he love her for the work that she could do for him? And they came to a good conclusion with that. I really do like this show, and I really think that it's going to be slept on by a lot of people, and I think it's really going to set up a lot of what we're going to be telling storytelling wise going forward in the MCU. Now, we have the writer's strike, we have the actor strike. Bob Iger has talked about pulling back on a lot of Marvel content, which I happen to understand. Um, it should be event television, it should be events going to the movies. And so I understand that. So it might be some time before we get to continue on with these story strings and these story arcs we're getting right now. We do know in the Marvels that Fury is back on Spear, and that makes sense at the beginning. And in the trailer, you can possibly see a blurry scroll in the background. So there's a possibility that and the main big bad in the Marvels is a Kree. So there's definitely going to be some connective tissue between what happened in this show and what happens there. And I really hope that Amelia Clark gets the opportunity to be a Super Scroll in multiple things going forward. And because she is an actual Super Scroll with a conscience, she still wants to live in her true form. She wants to live free, but she also wants to not ultimately hurt those of her own kind and those that she cares about around her and the humans that are there. So let us know what you thought of this episode and our discussion and reaction to it in the comments down below. Please be nice. It's a requirement around here. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, and follow us on all the social media stuff, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Links in the description down below. And until next time, cult members, Janice will be back. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.